Without further ado, I'd like to call on stage and to present Professor Anna Pijvers, the Secretary of State for Science. Please welcome her. Thank you very much, Secretary. Please feel welcome. Yes, please.
Oh my God. Hello. Well, good morning. Before I start, I'll switch to Portuguese because I have something to share. And I don't want it to be in English. Este pavilhão e este local é especialmente importante para mim. Quando eu era jovenzinha, eu fazia ginástica no Sporting. E nós usávamos este pavilhão para as exibições, E, portanto, esta sala, em particular, nós vínhamos para aqui para aquecer, para nos vestirmos, para depois ir... E, portanto, reparem que algo que antes era usado para algo muito diferente, agora estamos aqui num novo mundo, no mundo da tecnologia, no mundo da IA, no mundo da inovação, que me é especialmente querido. Portanto, sintam um bocadinho aquilo que eu sinto, que é uma honra enorme estar aqui com vocês neste local. So, again, good morning. It's a pleasure to be here with you today, celebrating startups. And today's program is an example of how far innovation has come in Portugal and the journey we face still to fully achieve our potential as a country and as an area. And I truly believe that we will get there, and you are the drivers for that. And let me start by sharing with you that these last 2 days, yesterday and Monday and Tuesday, my days were really full with an agenda fully dedicated to innovation. I had the pleasure to receive here in Portugal the Greek Deputy Minister for Development. And she visited Portugal to get to know our innovations ecosystem and to get inspiration from developing what we're doing for developing their own innovation ecosystem. And on those 2 days, we visited tech-based startups such as Sensei. I think there will be people talking today here, the Unicorn Factory, interface centers, research, academic institutions, all dedicated to fostering innovation. And they, the team that came from Greece, were really amazed. And so was I. I have to admit. I have the idea that we're doing well. These last 2 days made me believe that we're doing much better, thanks to all of you. It was inspiring to see the work that is being done here by researchers, innovators, and how much closer we are now of what we want to be. But innovation is the outcome of both education and science. Many of you that are doing tech and AI and machine learning, we wouldn't be here today without algebra, calculus, probability theory, backpropagation, gradient descent, neural nets, and much of the science that lies behind the work we're doing today. For decades, even centuries, science is what drives innovation. And in this case, all these areas are there to create, they were there to create this revolution that we are at the moment witnessing. And you are part of that revolution. Thank you. It is undeniable, then, that role of science in innovation. And some of you probably have read at least the abstract or the first part of the Draghi report. I'm not going to ask who read it, especially the last part, but that the report is a call for change. And it talks about European competitiveness, and it says that universities are one of the central actors in innovation ecosystems, and they produce the highly skilled workforce, generate breakthrough research, and help to turn this fundamental research that we all need into practical innovation. So we cannot deny that research is essential to foster deep tech industries such as many of the startups here today. And many of these startups actually originated from research done in academic and scientific institutions. And I know many of them. And I know that some of my students also are part of that ecosystem. And they were funded by those who dared to take their research from the lab to the society. Our Greek guests said yesterday, and I agree, you are killing it. So, in fact, our startups have been quite successful in securing European funding. Between 21 and 24, 73 national projects have been approved by the European Innovation Council. And I have to say that it's super hard to get a project approved by the EIC. And 16 deep tech startups got funding in the Accelerator program. This is amazing. Since the beginning of Horizon Europe framework, which is the current EU framework, as some of you probably know, over 1.2 billion euros have been captured by research and innovation here in Portugal. The funding obtained in these first years of this program is already higher than the total funding obtained in the previous program, the Horizon 2020. And this is everyone's doing, you're doing. Congratulations. And I know that the path has not always been that smooth. Many of you have encountered obstacles along the road. One of the main ones, which we are focusing at the ministry, is how to actually translate knowledge, this knowledge that you get in research centers, produced in our research institutions, into innovation. How do you jump from there? And that is something that we understand it's important to develop. That challenge comes in many forms. In one hand, to foster innovation, it is essential to raise the number of PhD holders in industry. Only 10% of our researchers are working in companies. I bet many are here. I suspect at least some, I believe, are here. But most are still in the higher education sector. That needs to change. We need to have more researchers, more PhD holders in our companies. Industry responds to only 1.07% of the funding in science. If one considers the nonprofit sector, the total private funding is just 1.1%. And in Portugal, we really aim at the 3% of GDP for science in the next 5 years, both public and private. And therefore, we need to increase these values. Portugal But you may say, oh, it's Portugal. No, no, no. Portugal is not the only country that needs to overcome these figures. Business expenditure in R&D, which is the board, is in Europe, the average 1.2%. It's very low. Whereas in the US, it's 2.3%. These numbers is highlighted in a recent report, again, that I recommend you to read. It's fun, it's really good. It's EU Innovation Policy, How to Escape the Middle Technology Trap. Please read, it's worth reading. And in that report, it shows values over the last 20 years in investment in high-tech and software companies. And indeed, what happens is that Europe is lagging behind. It's still investing in mid-tech industries. Now we're seeing that, how's that turning? It's changing. We need to change that. And those mid-tech industries do not require the same R&D intensity or offer the same growth potential as high-tech as the ones we're talking here. I could quote a lot more numbers from that report, but I don't want to bother you with that. But indeed, maybe we are at the moment in time that Europe and Portugal needs to do the right move and change, okay? We know this reality, and there will be discussions today here, but I believe that we need to change, and you are part of that change. So from our part, the Portuguese government is aware of all these challenges, and we're taking many steps to contradict it that we'd like to share with you. For example, we are placing PhD holders in industry and funding them through programs in the Portuguese, funded by the Portuguese Science Foundation, and we'll co-fund hiring of PhD holders. Be aware of that. I think it's very important because FCT will fund 1/3 of the salary in the first 3 years of the contract. Regulations are now undergoing public consultation. Be aware because it's important. It's like this move that we need to see. We're facilitating the involvement in researchers in startups, boards by making it compatible with exclusivity at researchers at the university, fostering collaboration between academic and non-academic sectors through project calls and PRR investments. And Annie, our innovation agency, has taken the lead in structuring this framework to support the pipeline of these researchers coming to the industry. And we are in the process of renewing many partnerships, in particular with MIT, UT Austin, and Carnegie Mellon, with a special focus on innovation. And I know that some of the startups came from this collaboration, from these partnerships, is so important for Portugal. Several of the initiatives aim to support this creation of new startups, spin-offs, and to foster collaboration with startups themselves. So really, and I can say, as someone that comes from AI, let me just tell you one thing. Companies and you guys need to understand resilience, need to understand you have a vision, go for it. We'll support you. We want you to go. There's no problem of failing. Look, 30 years ago, when I started doing AI, I was told to give up. AI is going nowhere. That's what I was told all the time. Don't believe in those that tell you don't go. Believe in those that tell you go for it. That's the believe in yourselves. So I want to finish to say that science needs to support innovation, but for that we need you. Portugal needs you, and scientists also need innovation. And we need you to truly engage with the national science and technology ecosystem so that we work together to facilitate this relationship that is so fruitful for the future here in Portugal of our companies and our country. So let's achieve this change together. Thank you very much.